Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Well, we're about to start another pretty big project here on the homestead, but there are a few things that we need to get ready before this project can actually start. Some of the things that needed to get ready have already been done, and you guys have seen some of them, but we didn't really tell you why the timing of everything was working the way that it was.
The first thing that was already taken care of that needed to be done for this next project was we moved the chicken hoop coop. If you remember a couple weeks ago, we showed you that we had installed a double deer fence around a 1-acre plot so that we could use that plot of land for an orchard, for a nice big berry area, as well as some gardening. And inside that double fencing, we are using it as a chicken moat so that our chickens can have a long run area. We put that hoop coop up there so that they can go there at night to be safe, and that's also where they will lay their eggs. But that served a second purpose to start getting this area ready for big project number 2 here on the homestead.
There was one other thing that needed to be done that got accomplished this week that we didn't actually do ourselves, and that was we needed all new electric run from the pole, a new electric meter, everything run from the pole out to the big barn that we milk in and to the workshop. Both of those have been completed. We no longer have bare wires hanging, hitting up against the metal siding, which is a really nice thing. So all of the electric has been upgraded to those 2 buildings, which is fantastic. So the next thing that we need to do today is we need to take down this fence behind me, and then we need to move the second hoop coop. This is the hoop coop that the ducks used to live in. Right now the ducks and chickens are living together. Now we need to move this hoop coop for 2 reasons. One, we need it out of the way so that we can start on the other project over here, but also because in just a couple weeks we're getting 20 new ducklings delivered here, and so we're going to start raising some more ducklings. So that'll be an exciting thing coming up right around the beginning of May. I think they're actually supposed to ship like May 3rd, so we'll probably be getting them sometime around May 5th. But for today, we need to take down this fence behind us, and we need to move that second hoop coop into the chicken moat area or into the orchard area to get that ready. So we're going to start by taking down this old wooden fence behind us. It's pretty much falling down already, so it's time for it to go, and then we'll move on to the next step.
Oh, that's heavy.
I know.
That was easy.
Yep. Around this property there's a lot of these old birdhouses that the original owner made. I think they're pretty cool, so that's what I'm going to take off. We'll relocate it somewhere else. Gotta fix it up a little bit, but I think it's a cool piece of history to keep around the farm. And last year I actually saw some bluebirds using this house, so looks like there's a nest in it. Not a current nest, but a nest from last year. So we'll fix it up a little bit and move it to a different fence. It's always interesting when you start kind of undoing work from years and years ago. I guess at the time 2x4s were what he had to make fence posts out of. Just made a spike on the end and pounded them in the ground. They've held up for a long time, but they've about seen their day, so today they're coming out. There is a part of both Sarah and I that are sad. We wish we could just leave everything exactly the way it is on the farm, because it has a real charm to it, and that's really what we fell in love with this piece of land, is kind of the old timiness of it. Unfortunately, we also need it to be functional, and a lot of it just isn't anymore. So we're hoping to always kind of change things but keep things as much the same as we can. So gotta have some change in order to do new things, I guess, but it still makes me a little bit sad. Apparently this tree wasn't nearly as big when this fence was put in, which is part of the reason it needs to come out, because the tree was pushing the fence over now.
This post is actually an old railroad tie, and it has the cutest bluebird house on the top. Now this isn't going to get in our way with our new project, so we're actually going to leave it here and leave the bluebird house here. It's just a nice memory of the older owners, previous owners, and their life, how much we appreciate them. So we're just going to leave this here. This other post, however, needs to come out. It will be in the way.
All right, the next part of this project is going to be moving the duck house, the duck hoop coop, into the orchard area. It's not terribly far, but it's probably 500 feet or a little more from where we are now to where it needs to go.
When we moved the chicken hoop coop, it was quite a learning experience. We did not film that. It was probably a good thing.
These hoop coops really aren't made to be portable. They're not like a chicken tractor. They're heavy, so we actually need to use the tractor to move them. So I think we learned a thing or two from doing the first hoop coop that will make this one a little bit smoother. First thing I'm going to do is install some eye bolts here on the front so we can hook a ratchet strap to them and use that to be able to pull it. And then on the back side, we're actually going to hook some skids that I made out of some scraps of 4x4, and that'll help be able to pull it a little bit easier. So we're going to get started hooking all this stuff up, and then we'll get moving. All right, that ratchet strap didn't seem like it was going to be strong enough, so we switched to using chains instead. All right, here's the two gates we need to go through. Now the chickens are way over on the other side of the chicken moat, so I don't think they're gonna come out, so we're just gonna hope for the best and go through the gates. All right, well, we got it most of the way here. Now what we're gonna do, because it's not real easy to turn these things, so we're gonna turn it by hand, and then I'm gonna use the tractor to push it straight forward. We're basically gonna we're gonna leave one space here at the fence between the two. And the reason that we want them so close to each other, first of all, is it'll make it easier for doing chores and things instead of having like one over here and one way over on the other side. But also, at some point, we may want to divide this chicken run or this chicken moat into two sections, one section for the ducks and one section for chickens. And this way, we can just put a divider kind of in between the two houses and straight across on the other side, and they can each have their own side. So you never know what we may want to do down the road, so that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it. We think it makes sense. We'll see if it does when we're all done. All right, well, we got it in position. Now, like I said when we started this, these things weren't made to be moved. This is the second time we've moved each of these, and I'll be honest, this is the last time I'm ever moving them. I said to Sarah, if we ever need to move these things again, I'm just going to build new ones wherever we want them, because they're not fun. They're not fun to move. So Anyway, the last thing we're going to do now is we're going to take the skids off, let it sit back down, and hopefully it all goes back to the way it was when we left the other spot. All right, looks like it held up just fine. Now, once it starts to warm up a little bit, we'll take all of these extra panels off. But remember, we're going to be raising some ducklings in here coming up, and this is still a weird time of year here where it can get pretty cold. So for now, I'm going to keep all of these extra panels on in case those ducklings need to stay warm. So this video really isn't supposed to be about moving the duck house. We still have to tell you guys what the next big project is that's going to be happening here on the homestead. So let's go back over to where we originally got this duck house from. And we're going to do some measuring, and then we're going to tell you what's going on. As we're working, all the cows decided to come up and get a drink. I know it's been a long time since you guys have seen all of the cows, so you can see we now have 4 calves born from our herd that we bought last summer. We're super excited about that. So we now have the 10 moms, we now have 4 calves, and then we still have Hudson, who was Hope's foster child or stepchild before we had to put Hope down. So he is fitting in really well with the rest of the herd here. We are doing, rotational grazing. So right now they're up in the front pasture. This is actually the pasture where normally our milk cow Rose and her calf are. But this is too much. This is too big of a pasture for her to eat down on her own. So for a few days, what we decided to do is keep her up in a smaller pasture right by the barn, which has plenty of food for her for a couple weeks. We're going to leave these guys out in the front pasture so they can graze that down a little bit, because otherwise it's going to get too long. And then next they'll be moving kind of next to the chicken moat here, and then we'll just kind of continue the rotation. So it's going to be a good system. But they heard all kinds of noise going on, and they were curious as to what's happening.
So this area behind us, you guys, that we've been working on today, this nice big open area, is going to be the spot for our very next project.
So our next project is going to be putting up greenhouse number 3. Now, you may be wondering why we need 3 greenhouses. Well, you may remember our first greenhouse that we put up about 4 years ago, and that's the greenhouse that we use exclusively for our plant starts. We don't do a lot of other growing in that. That is used for our plant starts in the spring and a few in the fall as well, but mostly in the springtime. And then you may remember greenhouse number 2 that we put up just a couple years ago. We've been using that. We built a big raised bed in the middle, and we've been using that to grow our lettuce and all kinds of things over the winter. And we've actually realized that there is a ton of things that we can grow here in our climate all winter long without having to heat a greenhouse. So that's why we're putting up greenhouse number 3. Greenhouse number 3, first of all, is going to be much bigger than our other greenhouses. We're going to show you in a minute exactly how big it's going to be. It's going to have a much better ventilation system, and it's going to allow us to be able to grow things really year-round. The current greenhouses that we have are very good at growing things in the cooler weather, but because they're pretty low and we don't have a lot of good ventilation in them, they get too hot in the summer to grow much. This new greenhouse is going to be much better at growing things even in the warm part of the summer.
So you guys, we're excited to tell you about this project. This greenhouse is going to be fantastic. The size of it is 20 feet by 60 feet.
Right.
And the walls are going to be tall in this one.
Right. Our other one has the 3.5-foot roll-up sides, which is really nice. It does provide a lot of ventilation, and we grow a lot of stuff in those. And I know a lot of you have purchased that exact greenhouse as well, and you know that you can do a lot in that greenhouse. But the new greenhouse is going to have the taller, the 7-foot sides, so it'll be straight up for 7 feet, and then it'll have the arch that goes over the top. And again, like Sarah said, it's going to be 20 feet wide by 60 feet long instead of 16 by 32, which is what our current ones are.
So we're going to go measure out where this new greenhouse is going to go, pretty much. To give you an idea of the size, we're going to mark it in a way so you guys can kind of see how big it's going to be. We're so excited.
And then we have to tell you guys about actually what I think is probably the coolest part of this entire process. And, well, let's go measure it out first so you guys can see.
Okay, this time we're gonna mark these out, all the corners with buckets, so you can really see better than just, you know, like a stick or a stake in the ground.
Right. So let's do the 20-foot first.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go down to 60 feet.
Okay. That's about right. That's about it.
All right. So this will be the size of the new greenhouse, which is essentially almost double the size of our current greenhouses. We think that this is going to give us some great opportunity to do some extra growing and some things that we haven't been able to do before. We don't want to spill the beans for all of our plans, but it's going to open up a lot of possibilities for things for us to grow.
Now, the most exciting part about this, we have yet to share with you guys.
So let's take a little step back in time. It was several months ago that we had called Grower Solutions. You know that we've worked with them a lot. It's where we bought our original greenhouses, and we
just get a lot of our stuff.
We buy a lot of our stuff from them because they sell really professional products for people who aren't, you know, at the scale of big farmers. So we called Grower Solution and we told them that we wanted to get another greenhouse from them, and we worked out all the details for getting the greenhouse. And then a few weeks later, they called us and they had a proposition for us.
They said, you know, we're expanding our business and we're wanting to start putting out instructional videos for our customers. And they said that they don't have an instructional video for the exact greenhouse that we are getting to put up here at the farm. And so they have offered to send a crew from Grower Solutions to put up our brand new greenhouse, and then they will be filming it with their camera crew so that they can have that out there in an instructional video for their customers. But they're going to be filming that here on our farm.
So instead of when you buy a greenhouse from them, you get paper copy of instructions. From now on, you'll actually be able to watch our greenhouse being set up as the instructions for their greenhouses, which is awesome. It's a win-win. They get to shoot this video so that it can help all of their customers, not just us, but we get the benefit of them coming out and actually putting this greenhouse up for us. We'll be here, we'll be helping them, I'm sure, along the way, but you know, it saves us a lot of time. We were really worried about, first of all, could Sarah and I together just put up, you know, just the two of us put up a greenhouse this size? We probably could, but it would take a long time. They're going to come out here and be able to put it up in just a matter of days, which is going to be awesome.
This is such a huge blessing for us. We just can't even believe that this is happening. We're so excited. Just some amazing things are falling into place for us, and we're so thankful.
So the plan as of right now is that they're going to be out here next week to set this greenhouse up for us. Of course, this is the Ozarks. We need to keep a close eye on the weather because it can change, and that may completely change the plans. So we just know that they will be out at some point to set this up for us. We're hoping it's going to be next week. And of course, you guys will be seeing the process as this new greenhouse gets set up.
You guys, we're so excited for this next step here on our farm. At the beginning of this year's growing season, it's a very exciting time for us. We're so happy that you stopped by to work with us today to get this area ready for our brand new greenhouse and for Grower Solutions to come and set it up for us. If you are enjoying our videos, make sure that you hit that subscribe button below so that you're notified of all of our new videos. And also remember that the best way that you can help us is just to share our videos on your social media. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.